Welcome, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Friday, June 7, 2022. What a day, Father's Day weekend. I've been watching a lot of the U.S. Open. Colin Morikawa, -5 is your leader. We have him at plus 3,100 pre-flop right now. Rory at -4. It's going to be one hell of a weekend, guys. Take a snapshot of the scoreboard today. It's going to flip 10 times on Saturday and probably another 15 times on Sunday. But you got to make the cut. You got to get to moving day. You got to have a decent moving day to get to Sunday sweats. We've set ourselves up. We're going to be ready for a great weekend. Right now, the cut teeter-tottering on +3 or +4. I have some DraftKings lineups that could really use a +4. Currently doing amazing, which is unheard of for me in DraftKings. But it's 6:30. I know Scotty's got some action on a 6:40 game. So let's bring him in. Let him get that game out to you guys, and then we'll go from there. The one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Afternoon, sir.
Mr. Jeff, how are you today, brother?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. I'll be honest with you. Today's board in baseball looks real tough. It's Fade the Public Friday. It's payday. I did leave the Phillies first 5 on the desk minus the hook. They hold on for a 5-3. Atlanta streak at 14 is now stopped. And this is how baseball is. In our action parlay on Sunday, we had Thompson as our big dog against the Yankees. Gave up 5 in the first, 3 in the second. Thanks for playing. And today he looked like Cy Thompson. But with that said, we talked. You got some action on the 6:40 game. Why don't you take the stage? Give them what you're seeing there. Then we can go back and forth.
Yeah, no worries. Look, this is Milwaukee and Cincinnati, and Milwaukee's been struggling. Of course, they lost again last night too. The Mets. They took a lead, but they couldn't close it out. Lauer has been one of their better pitchers, and this is a team that's I don't want to call them on life support because that's not really the right word. They're a team that needs to figure things out pretty quick because without Peralta and without Woodruff, that's what made this team good was their starting pitching. And then Lauer stepped up, and Lauer was, oh my God, he was as good as those guys. And Lauer hasn't been as good here as of late. And his last 4 starts haven't been very good. He's had one start in the last 4 that have been over what I would consider to be average. I mean, game score of 54. That was his best. So then you look at Hunter Green, and he had his struggles early, and we all fell out of our chair when you're like, oh my God, he throws 116,000 million miles an hour. But his arm didn't fall off, and he kind of figured things out a little bit. And his last 2 starts have been great, and then 2 starts before that were great. He had 2 kind of in the middle that weren't so good. He's already faced Milwaukee twice this season, and he didn't fare too good in those games. So why are you betting on him today, Scott? Well, I'm betting on him today because of a couple of things. One, when you look at what the Reds just did, the Reds played in Arizona. They won 2 out of 3 in Arizona, so they're bringing good positive momentum home. And when you look at what Milwaukee did, Milwaukee just lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets, and they lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, and they lost 4 straight to Philadelphia. So this is a team that's fading fast, and they're going to face a kid that can pitch, and maybe this kid's figured out how to pitch. Now, what's interesting in this game, I played it full game, and I'm taking plus money at the full game. It's plus 103. If you flip this over, Jeff, and you look at it first 5, guess who the favorite is? It's Green. He's minus 115 or minus 120 in the first 5 innings. So I'm not going to pay that because when I looked at the bullpens, for whatever reason, Milwaukee's bullpen is 28th in the last 14 days. Not that Cincinnati's is that much better, but I mean, there's 26th. But offensively, Cincinnati's better than Milwaukee, and that's hard to say because Cincinnati's not been that great on offense either. But I think this is about the pitcher. I think the pitcher's going to do well today, and I think you're getting a pretty good price on him. So I'm going to take Green. I'm going to take the momentum that they got coming in for beating Arizona, and I think this is a good spot to beat up Lauer a little bit.
As I said, the board was full of, we talk about landmines versus gold mines. I talked to, we did the breakfast bankroll this morning with Riley, and we talked about the Phillies and Washington, and if Phillies won game one, what's your thoughts on Washington game two? I had them on, and then I just thought there was way too much movement. I thought, honestly, that I told them it would go down to about a 115. It did. It used to be money, Scott. After a doubleheader, you lose the first game. Whoever loses the first game, you come back with them. I looked at the Washington numbers. I can't back them. I'm sorry. I cannot back them.
Well, we talked about this yesterday in the morning about spots. And you can't bet on teams that aren't going to give it their all. And I don't know what else to tell you. Washington's no good. And, you say that about teams and they go on these little runs. And every team will do that. I mean, if they play 162. So every team is going to go on a little bit of a run. But a Washington might only go on a 3 or 4 game win streak. That's it. That's all they get. And then they'll go on 7 straight losses again. They don't have a competitive fire in that team. It's hard to understand, but I spoke about it as being the dog days of summer have come early, and I think that's one of the teams that's caught up in that. The Chicago Cubs are caught up in that. They lost 10 and 11 straight games, and until they won today, but they won 1-0. So it's not like they beat the crap out of whoever they played. And then the good teams go on these big runs, the Yankees and the Braves and these guys. They just go out there and keep beating teams. So you pick your spots, and in a doubleheader, to me, when you got a team like Washington, I couldn't support them at all. Now, having said that, there are ways to figure out how to bet those games, and you got to look at totals, or you got to look at team totals or something like that, instead of sides and so forth. I will tell you that what scares me about that game, and the only thing that really scares me about that game, is Espino's not a good pitcher, but he's a better pitcher than what the Phillies are throwing out there. So I sit there and think to myself, okay, well, he's a better pitcher, but the offense is just so much better with Philadelphia, that how does that factor in? And I just sit there and go, okay, well, they're not the Baltimore Orioles, right? The Orioles aren't very good, but they're pretty damn pesky, and they go out and fight and they win these games. And even the Pirates win games like this, and the Nationals don't. So I think they've thrown in the towel. So I wouldn't support the Nationals on hardly any bets.
No. On our weekly email venture to potentially 25,000 new family members, I do have San Fran minus the run line. Both teams anemic offensively, according to Fangraphs, the last 10 days. San Fran's pitching's been a lot better. Again, is this going to be 3-1? Is it going to be 4-2? That was our email play of the day. I'm going to talk about this one. SoCal DGen, he comes up with all these crazy trends on Twitter, angles and stuff. Every time Freeland pitches, it's, an under. It's an under. This was an overnight of 11, and it is 12.5 juiced over, Scotty. Gore has been hit or miss. Freeland has been respectable. Padres bats are smoking. First half of the game, 15 to 20 miles an hour straight out. I'm bucking the trend here, but when a line changes 1.5 in Coors Field, I told you 12.5 is an auto over.
Well, it could be. I mean, here's my thoughts on this game, and this is one of those spots where the last time that Gore pitched, the very last time, I'm pulling it up right now. The last time that he pitched against Colorado. So this is the back-to-back start stuff that I talk about. And you see it over and over and over when you look at these things. He pitched 2 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks to Colorado. So he's not going to do that today. He's got a game score basically of 60. It's 59, but that game score was a 20. It's the worst he's had all season. By far, it's the worst he's had all season. And his lowest game score other than that is 52. Gore's he's like an ace. So here you go. We're going to throw a game score 60 kind of pitcher out there who threw a game score 20. Shit, he might throw a goddamn no-hitter today. I'm just making that up. But you know what I'm saying, right? I mean, that's kind of the philosophy here. And then if you look at Freeland on the other side, where I get Freeland, there he is. Freeland, he threw in that they were matched up against each other. It was the same game. He threw a game score 62. His game score for the season is a 48. So that's one of the best games he's thrown. So I don't look for him to be able to back that up and support that. So can the game go over? Well, maybe so. And especially if San Diego gets hot and San Diego hits, I'm expecting Gore to pitch pretty good. San Diego's offense, when I looked at it, was like 4th, I think. Where is it? Well, yeah, 4th. They are 4th in offense right now, and Colorado is 29th. So when I look at it from that perspective, I got a huge offensive edge. I got a starting pitching edge. The only thing that San Diego doesn't have going for them 100% in this game is the bullpen, because for whatever reason, Colorado's bullpen is ranked number 1 over the last 14 days. But I decided that if they're going to win and he's going to pitch good, and then they're expecting runs, I don't mind the run line here. I'm not going to pay the 145 or whatever it is. I thought it was. I got him at run line minus 105. So I took Gore on the run line minus 105. That was my wager in that game. And I just, it's hard for me to play an over when I think one pitcher is going to do really good.
9-5 final. How's that?
I'm good with it.
I've been staring at Toronto. Again, the Yankees, that's all they do is win. I think Toronto, as good as Toronto's playing, 10 games back, big series for them, obviously. I'm not a huge Stripling fan, but a lefty coming into New York, I did lean Toronto, left them on the desk. I know you're a big Scooble fan. Texas scored 3 in the 9th for us to cover the run line yesterday. Detroit can't score. They cannot score. Here's the shocker. I think you're going to think it's a shocker. Overnight, Valdez and Houston was 190 against Giolito. You never see that with Giolito. And the corrected line was 160. I think Houston gets it done. I respect the opening number. I can't pay that kind of number. A full game run line. Imagine that at home. I lean that one. The St. Louis-Boston game, you know me in totals. St. Louis was team total was 4.5 juiced to minus 135. Boston was 4.5 juiced over as well at 130. The Sox have gone to minus 145. If I knew everyone could get 10s, I would say take the over tonight. We had some rain all over the East Coast, Cape Cod, torrential downpours. The ball's going to fly today in Boston at Fenway. I think both teams score 5 at least. I think that game goes flying over.
Yeah, it's Boston is it's a over park. I mean, they a lot of times, especially in the summer, not so much in the spring, but in the summer, man, that ball flies out of there. Wainwright is I need to get the ball hit to the right people to make outs kind of pitcher. Balls in play, they go to the fielder, they throw them out. But if they don't get them thrown to the fielder, he can get in trouble real fast. And Boston's had a pretty good offense here, so I don't mind that at all. I don't. And St. Louis, as long as Goldschmidt didn't break his leg going on the plane, that team can score some runs because that guy's carrying that team.
And the other game that I stayed away again, I thought it kind of smelt a little was Minnesota and Arizona. Minnesota opened at 140 last night, corrected number of 128. I mean, I'm not a Smeltzer fan, you know that. You don't know what you're getting from Bumgardner. I leaned Minnesota, I stayed away. And then Cleveland and the Dodgers. I mean, it's Kershaw. What, third start back since the IL?
I think it's the second.
Second, okay. Cleveland, again, pesky. I'll put them in that Baltimore category.
Shit, they're over 500 now, right?
32 and 27.
I mean, shit. I mean, nobody's going to sit here and tell you that, except for they are on our overs list for team wins. By the way, look at us go! Woo.
So the board's yours. Take it away.
So, New York, Toronto, right? You talked about that a little bit. Montgomery and Stripling. What I found interesting about this matchup when I pulled it up is looking at the numbers. If I click this back to Sierra instead of Whip, the number one pitcher today is Hunter Green. He's number one in Sierra, but Ross Stripling is number 7 out of the 30 pitchers that are pitching today. And Jordan Montgomery is number 8. And you flip it to Whip, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. What you run into is these are the top two of keeping guys off base, right? So if these guys are off base, it's going to be hard to score. So my thought was that, you're looking at probably unders in this game. The Yankees struggled yesterday to score against Tampa Bay. Toronto got beat yesterday. So, it's just one of those things that I look at this and think, there's 9 runs there. That doesn't mean they're going to go out and get 9 runs. These are two pretty good pitchers, and Ross Stripling's had a pretty good season. So I stayed off of it. I think a lot of people are going to want to take the Yankees anytime they can get them for 110, 115, 125, something like that, because how they're 30 some games over 500 and they've only played 50 games or something. So you get a team like that and you can get that kind of number. I think people are going to be all over that, but I didn't play it. I think it's going to be a lower scoring kind of whoever gets the last, home run kind of thing is going to win. That Texas and Detroit game I did play Skubal. I like Skubal. I think Skubal is one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball. I don't think people give him credit for that. And I think he's going to be facing John Gray today. And Gray is, at best an average pitcher. And I know Detroit's not scoring runs. I get it. They couldn't hold off Texas yesterday. It's going to be one of those kind of, oh my God, games that you gotta hold your nose and go, oh my God. But it's just so much more to the idea that you got Skubal at 2.95 Sierra, and then you got Gray. He's at 3.89. So you got 1 run edge in the Sierra number. But when you flip it over and you start to look at strikeouts, and guys that get on base, Skubal's a 9.0, and he walks 1.2 guys per 9 innings. And then when you flip it over and you look at Gray, he walks 4 guys per 9 innings, 4. So now your Sierra number looks a little better. You got more guys on base. The batting average for John Gray is 211, which is pretty good for him. And for Skubal, his whip rate is 0.93. He's not giving up a guy, per inning. And you flip it over to the Gray, and he's got 1.23, which is about average. So I think Skubal's the better pitcher. I didn't play this full game yesterday, so I lost that game. I played at first 5 and it was 0-0. So I had Texas in the first 5 yesterday. so I lost that one, but I did win with Wheeler yesterday on the run line. But should have won both games, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I didn't bet it that way. So today I'm playing Scooble because I think he's just a much better pitcher. So he's going to have to hold down the fort and keep the guys from scoring base. Now, you talked about Giolito and you talked about Houston, and I don't think people are giving Houston the credit where credit is due. Yes, people recognize they're a good team, but I still think they're the team that goes out and hits 75 million home runs and bats 400 and gets on base all the time. That's not who they are. They're an average offense. They're not a dynamic offense. Their offensive numbers right now aren't bad, but there's a new leader in the clubhouse against left-handed pitchers, Jeff. It is the White Sox. The White Sox are number one in Major League Baseball hitting left-handed pitchers. And Valdez, he's been awesome so far. And it's not because he goes and strikes everybody out, because he's not that guy. He doesn't go out and strike. He only gets 7.4 strikeouts per 9 innings. What he does is he gets ground balls. He induces ground ball after ground ball after ground ball after ground ball. I mean, more so than it's like record-setting level at this point. So the biggest, and I looked at that number and I go, holy shit, that number is too high. And then I looked at what's going on with Giolito, and I don't know if people really realize what's going on with Giolito. So let me pull up Giolito for a second. Lucas Giolito, game log. Here we go. Oops, right, the wrong button. But we get the right button. There it is. All right. So Giolito, his last 3 starts. Well, let's just go back last 5 starts. Game score 41, game score 31, game score 25, game score 61, game score 46. Jeff, he's got a game score 48 for the season. That's not what he normally does. And he's not got the big, he's still got the big strikeouts, but what he's got is big walks. He's walking guys. Like he in that game against Texas, he pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks. Against the Tampa Bay, the time before that, he gave up 2 walks, 4 walks, 2 walks, 1 walk. I mean, he's just walking guys. You're putting guys on base. You're getting hit. You're going to give up runs, and that's how Houston scores, right? They'll take their walks. So I can't sit here and support the White Sox, even though I thought I could. I wanted to.
I just went on the DraftKings. 2 props for anyone listening for some pizza and beer money. Tucker over a half plus 450 for the homer, and Alvarez is plus 340 tonight. 2 lefties that should do pretty well tonight.
That Oakland Kansas City game, are you kidding me? Jeff, I mean, how do you do that? How do you go and say I don't care how good Frankie Montas is. I mean, they act like Frankie Montas is, I don't know, the best pitcher on the West Coast or something.
2 of the worst offenses with an under/over of 7, guys. Okay, I guarantee you this. After 3, it will be 3-3. You watch. Those games that you don't think no one's going to score are the ones that score the most.
I mean, Oakland has won. Where's my other numbers? Dun, dun, dun. So if I go look at Oakland for just a second, and I'm sorry I don't have it pulled up, but here it is. So Oakland at home, they've played 30 games at home. They've won 7. They've won 7 times out of 30 games at home, and they're going to go and make them a 160 favorite. Come on, man. I get it. I get it. You're going to play against a team that's not very good, but you can't make this team a 160 favorite over anybody. So I'm not going to play on it. I'm not going to even. I just looked at that and I said that's ridiculous and moved on. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even handicap the game. That LA game with Lorenzen and Ray. I don't really like Lorenzen, but every time I've bet against Lorenzen, I've had issues. And you know how I feel about Robbie Ray. I'm not betting on Robbie Ray. So that turned me off of that game. Lorenzen's been one of those guys that, he came over to the Angels as a relief pitcher and he stretched him out, got stretched out in spring training, which I don't understand because everybody else couldn't get stretched out, but this guy could. So now this guy's throwing 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings. He's throwing like a starter does. His problem is he doesn't have starter stuff to go that far. And at some point in time, he's going to get hit. But Seattle hasn't been hitting. Of course, the Angels don't hit either right now. So how do you play this game? It's the total 7.5 in a game with Mike Lorenzen pitching. So I'm like, okay, this game doesn't make sense. So I'm moving on. And then I do like what you said about Wainwright and Walker and being over. I think Wainwright gets hit. Not sure what to think of Walker right now. I mean, he's been so good at some points in time, and he in my mind, you might as well play on Boston. I don't mind that because I don't. What I think is going on in St. Louis is people think that the whole offense is hitting. It's not. The whole offense is not. It's just a couple guys that are carrying the whole damn team. That Minnesota-Arizona game, I look at it this way. Bumgarner's a better pitcher than Smeltzer, but can you bet against Minnesota's offense against Arizona's offense? I don't know if you can or not. The number's 128. That's probably a pretty fair number. So I didn't like that one at all. And Minnesota can't hit lefties either. So then you got – I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that without actually I get them mixed up with Milwaukee half the time. So let me double check what I just said. They're 17th. So they're not as good as they should be against lefties, put it that way. Then you got Kershaw and Plesac, and I'll bet against Plesac every day. I don't like him at all. So, but I'm not gonna go betting on Kershaw until he can get his arm figured out. So anyway, that's kind of how I saw the board today.
Tomorrow, tomorrow morning, I will have to fly solo. Actually, you off tomorrow morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, me and Scotty will do a breakfast bankroll. We'll get you ready for Saturday. There on Sunday, Father's Day, I have a real early morning engagement. It's a yearly ritual. I should be back by 11 a.m. I will fly solo, guys, for all you guys listening. I'll get you up to speed on what the board looks like. We'll be quick to the point. We'll get everyone set up for the final round of the U.S. Open as well. There. Closing thoughts, Scott.
Closing thoughts is don't bet the games that you don't feel comfortable betting. Don't be taking chances right now. You don't want to take chances. Bet on shit that's good, because there's enough out there right now that you don't have to take. It's like we talked about the other day, right? We talked about the Yankees where it was Cortez and McClanahan, and I said, well, I think the Yankees are probably going to be the better side here, but I don't have to bet the game. Because theoretically it was a coin flip, and the Yankees won, I think 4-1, or it was 4-3 or something. But the point that I'm trying to make is there are good spots to go, and here's what I would also tell you is in those good spots, don't be afraid to put a little extra out there. And what I mean by that is, we're picking on Washington, we're picking on the Cubs. We're picking on certain teams right now. And when you're picking on those teams, don't be afraid to put some extra money out there, because that's how you make your money. You make your money against the teams that are struggling. And especially when they play the teams that are doing good, it's real hard to turn yourself into an understanding that the Washington Nationals are going to beat the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So don't be afraid to put some money out there, because that's how you make money when you do this, right? I mean, you can't put $5 out there and expect to get $70,000 back unless you're putting some stupid risk and all that stuff to go with it. But if you're a normal $100 bettor and you decide you want to put $150, $200 out there, go for it. Help yourself out a little bit and just have that one game if you wanted to do it that way. And then you move forward and you kind of make it happen from that level. So my thoughts is be a little bit more specific right now. And because you don't have to bet on the games that are close, bet on the games that are going to be where you have big edges, and don't be afraid to put a little bit of money out there. And I put some stuff in the Discord too, Jeff. You might like on college football today.
Yes, and I'm going to close with this, guys. It's Father's Day weekend. The Triple Crown and Horses has left the barn. The NBA is all done. We're in game 2 of the Stanley Cup tomorrow. U.S. Open this weekend. We'll still have another major with the British Open coming up. The fact is, it's going to be baseball will be the headliner. Now, I have Andrew McGinnis on Wednesdays. We talk about the CFL. There will be other options out there. But the fact of the matter is this, guys, is I can't stress this enough. You know, if you wave the white flag now to regroup, it's all up to you. I get it. It's summer. I get the fact the kids are out of school. I get the fact that the wife wants you to take a break. You got the cottage down on the beach. I get all that. Scott gets all that. We get all that. If you need a break, you need a break. But there is a lot of money out here to be grinding. As Scott's talking about the hot teams, excuse me, who's hot, who's not, go against them. You know, you couldn't, the Braves lost. After a long, long winning streak, after they lose one, you're supposed to go against them the second day. After a long, long losing streak, you win one, you're supposed to take them again the second day. Now, I don't have the pitching matchups tomorrow. I can't back the Cubs. But it'll be interesting to see what the matchup is. Morton did no harm today. It was just Thompson, as Scotty would say, on a bounce back, who had been pretty good, who laid an egg in the Bronx on Sunday that ended up cashing today. It was actually the bullpen, I assume. They scored late.
They got Kyle Wright and Justin Steele tomorrow.
Yeah, steel. Is he going to be steel or is he going to be aluminum can? You watch. And I'm a big Wright fan as it is. So I think Wright will probably be around minus 180 or 85 tomorrow, something stupid like that. But anyways, listen, it's Friday. Go out, grab some appetizers, grab a couple cold ones. You earned it. It's been a long, long week. Don't leave any pizza on the oven. Don't end up sleeping on the couch. It's Father's Day weekend. So to all the fathers out there, enjoy. Do something that you like. You know, whether it's going outside, going to a beach. I go to a car show on Sundays. For Father's Day, usually get a round of golf in. I don't know if I will this year, but the fact of the matter is a lot of things to do to occupy your time. And me and Scott and ECSI will do all the legwork and all the groundwork to get you ready and hopefully to that pay window there. So with that said, if you are wagering tonight, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up the phone. There is an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Scott E. Webb at Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, cash a few tickets, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.